company. Welcome to the actual World Storytelling Cafe in the very heart of the Medina of Marrakesh. And we are the World Storytelling Cafe. We operate both virtually and in consensus reality. So this morning is virtual. We don't know how many people we're going to have because I've been running around and running a festival and forgot to check the website and realized we hadn't advertised this very well, but it doesn't matter. But I have to tell you a little bit about the festival. On Wednesday, we had a procession from Dar Balaj, which is a cultural center mainly devoted to women, and we all processed, 100 of us processed through the souk with musicians and singers to the square, where we reclaimed the square for storytelling. And we had Moroccan tellers, we had the ex-minister of culture from Morocco came and told a story. And a huge crowd. And I was walking back through the souk yesterday, and people were showing me videos of where they did, of the procession. And and someone described it, because it's been locked down here the same as in the rest of the world. And the borders only opened on the 7th of February. And they described the procession as putting blood back in the veins of Marrakesh, of the Medina, of the souk. Now, that is as good a compliment as you're going to get. So everyone, restaurateurs, stallholders, mayors, and last night at the dinner, we had the great and the good, and they were good, of Morocco. And there's Ali just being sort of told he has to be somewhere else. So it has been the most amazing festival. It will happen next year, and it'll be big, I think. So we pulled off the impossible this year, and so I'm so glad, even though it was difficult, and even though I dropped the ball and didn't advertise this session too well. So I'm so glad Korea could join us. You know, we have got.
I did a little bit of direct messaging, John.
What's that?
I did a little bit of direct messaging.
Bless your heart, David.
Thanks, David.
Yeah. So from Marrakesh to England to Korea. I mean, how's that for a World Storytelling Cafe? There's let's see. Would you care to tell the first story? We bring Korea into the cafe. Would you like to tell your story, Sweetie?
Okay, I'm not from Korea.
So could you correct me? I've been making mistakes this whole festival. It's a wonder I haven't been slung out of the country. I've been getting people's names wrong. I've been getting their countries wrong. So could you say, and I can't even read the bottom of because I'm looking at the screen from 1,000 miles away here.
Okay.
So
I understand.
Could you introduce yourself and say which country you're in?
Yes. Actually, we are pretty much everybody's the same, right? Wherever we are from, we actually have a bit of different culture here and there in us. And Ansuk's culture, her Korean culture, is also very much here in Singapore. I'm from Singapore.
Of course. Of course.
And I'm glad I can come today. I have missed this World Storytelling Cafe for a few months. And I'm glad to come and to be reminded by David to come online. And yes, I do have a story. It's a story that I've been enjoying and been telling the last few weeks, and I still want to tell it. So I thought, oh, what a good opportunity for me to tell this story. And this story is a North American folk tale, and it's to do with long, long, long time ago. It's so long ago, at a time when the only kind of light came from the sun. And so in the day, we had the sunlight, the light, and we had the warmth from the sun. But in the night, it was darkness. It was cold. The humans, they couldn't see in the dark, but still they were cold at night. Now what they really needed at night was perhaps fire. But fire belonged to the fire beings far, far away on top of a mountain. And these fire beings, they were selfish fire beings. They refused to share their fire with the humans. They had sharp eyes, sharp ears. Oh, they could detect if a human came near. And they had sharp, long claws that were very scary, and they could do all kinds of things to the humans. Now the animals, they were not afraid of the cold. There was Coyote. In fact, Coyote had a thick coat of fur. Coyote didn't bother about the coldness until one day when he was roaming around and he heard the women crying. They were crying because their babies and their parents were falling sick from the fire. Oh, their cries made him shiver, even though he had his thick coat of fur. The cry made him shiver from within. Oh, a stick of fire is all we need to light the night, to warm our night. Well, Coyote also heard the men. The men, they were talking amongst themselves how they wished they could capture a little bit of that sunlight to warm their backs when they slept at night. How they could capture some of that heat on rocks and keep the rocks, the heat, all the way through the night. Well, Coyote heard them, and Coyote decided to help them. He called for all the big animals to help, but none of them wanted to help. They were scared of the fiery beings. Then he called the smaller animals. Squirrel, chipmunk, and frog. Though frog is very small, they offered to help. So together they went to the mountain. Now, when Coyote got near to the fire beings, I told you they had sharp eyes, sharp ears, but they said, that's just Coyote. Let him be. And so Coyote watched them, how the three fire beings kept the fire burning with dry sticks, dry branches, dry leaves, dry grass. And he watched how the fire beings guarded their fire all day and all night, except for one moment. That moment when, well, at night, only one fire being would be guarding while the other two slept. And it was at the break of dawn when that one fire being would run back to the two fire beings and call out, wake up, it's my turn to sleep. And the other two would be We don't want to wake up. And it's at that point, the fire was not guarded by any one of them. Immediately, Coyote lunged forward, picked up a stick of fire, and he sprang down the mountain. He ran fast, but the fire beings were faster, and they chased after him and chased after him. They touched his tail with their fiery hands, and the tip of his tail burnt. Ooh! He howled, and that's why Coyote's tail is singed today. Well, quickly, as he ran, he threw that stick of fire to his next friend, Squirrel. Squirrel was fast. Squirrel hopped from tree to tree. He moved really fast. But the fire beings were faster. They stretched out their hands and they pulled his tail with their fiery hands. Oh, they made the hairs of his tail stand and made his tail curl up like this. Oops. And so that's why Squirrel's tail is curled in this way and standing up. Well, Squirrel felt the pain with the fiery beings hot in pursuit. He tossed that stick of fire to his friend, Chipmunk. And Chipmunk grabbed that stick of fire, but he was stunned. He saw what happened to his two friends. He just stood there frozen. He didn't move. He was too scared. Now this is the point where I need your help. I need you to call out to Chipmunk and say, Chip, 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 Chipmunk, run! Can you do that?
Chip, 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 chipmunk, run!
Oh, all of a sudden he woke up. Yes, run! And he ran. But not before the fire beings stretched out their fiery hands and touched his head, his body, his tail. Ooh! Leaving behind 3 long stripes from head to body to tail. And that's how chipmunks are today. Through that stick of fire to Frog. And so the fire beings turned and chased after Frog. Now Frog may be small, but he had strong hind legs. He leaped forward, high. But in those days, Frog had a long tail, so the fire beings pulled his tail and ow! They pulled off Frog's tail. That's why Frog today, they don't have a tail. Well, Frog leaped and he had to toss that stick of fire. What was he gonna do? He saw a tree. And so I need all of you to stretch up your hand to be tree. Yes. Yeah. Stretch out your arms high, because I'm going to toss that stick of fire to you and you need to catch it. All right? Are you ready? 1, 2, go! Catch that stick of fire! Oh, yes, yes. Bring that stick of fire into your heart. Yes, yes, yes. Keep it there, keep it there, keep it to your heart. Oh, the fire beings came to tree and they looked at the tree and they said, give us that stick of fire. Now, are you going to give that stick of fire to tree? Oh, fire beings talked sweetly. Please give us the stick of fire. Are you going to give away that stick of fire? Oh, the fire being sang, give us that stick of fire. No, you're not gonna give up that stick of fire? Oh, the fire beings got angry and they began to shout and to yell and then to scratch and claw at tree. The tree still refused to give up that stick of fire. And soon, the fire beings gave up and they went back to their mountain. Now, Coyote had been watching. He knew how to get fire from tree. For he knew the spirit of fire now remained with tree. And so he taught the humans how to get one branch from tree, another branch from tree, and with one branch to make a hole, and with the other one to, on top of that hole, to spin carefully and patiently until fire came out. And from that time onwards, man, the humans, had fire to light the night and fire to keep them warm in the night. Thank you.
Thank you so much. From Singapore, I think we'll go, and I can't see a name because, Devjani from India. And Devjani, welcome, namaste. And so you have to unmute yourself.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
And please, could you tell us a story?
Sure. It will be my pleasure, my delight to share a story here. Well, this is a folk tale from India. So, once upon a time, am I audible?
Please do. You're part of the Marrakesh International Storytelling Festival. So please tell us a story.
Yes. Okay. So once upon a time, there was a beautiful girl, Lakshmi. And so it was a day when Lakshmi was going to get married, and the entire village was so excited. There was so much of activity going on, like, oh, because you see, Lakshmi was everyone's favorite, because she was so different from other women of her time. And then she got married to Ramu. She came home to her new home with her husband Ramu. As I said, Lakshmi was so different from other women of her time because she loved to sing, she loved to dance, she loved to listen to stories, she loved to think so many things. And Ramu, he just loved two things, to eat and to sleep. Still, how these two got married, that's a different story for a different time. But Lakshmi, when she discovered that her husband is like this, she thought, oh no, I must do something, to develop some interest in him about higher things of life. So she started trying this, that, in every possible ways to develop some culture in Ramu. But she, of course, failed because still Ramu just believed in two things, to eat, to sleep, and in between, he used to work a bit to earn some money. That's it. Then, one day, a storyteller arrived in that village. And the storyteller announced that he is going to recite stories from Ramayana a very famous epic of India for the next few nights. Because during that time, stories used to be narrated during the night time. And the villagers, all after their hard work, used to get congregated in the ground and listen to the storyteller. Well, the news did spread, and it reached Lakshmi too. And Lakshmi was excited because she thought, yes, this is an opportunity. If somehow my husband can go there and listens to the stories of Ramayana, that great storyteller, oh, and sure, he will have some interest in stories. So that day, when Ramu returned from work, Lakshmi said, listen, no, you just have to do one thing for me. What? Tonight, please go and listen to Ramayana. I mean, just few nights. Nights? Instead of sleeping, I will go and listen to stories. Of course not. Please, all my friends' husbands are going, you see. I'll be so left out if you don't go. I mean, it is like loss of face for me. What is this new drama? I can't go. I'm not asking anything, neither jewelry nor in some expensive dresses. Just asking you to go and listen to stories for a few nights. You know, the last weapon she used. You can't even do this for me. That means you don't love me at all. I'm going to go back to my mother's house, I tell you. Okay, I'll go. So reluctantly, Ramu went that night. By the time he reached there, he saw the ground was filled already, and the storyteller was standing in the middle of the crowd. No? People were all surrounding him, and they were all like trying to listen to him. Ramu didn't look at them at all. He was looking for an empty space somewhere. He was lucky. Just beneath a tree, he found a beautiful spot. So he sat there, leaned against the tree, and he just dozed and dozed and dozed. Very soon he fell asleep. He was snoring too, deep asleep. There the storyteller was constantly narrating the story, and here Ramu was sleeping. Well, just when the first ray of the sun kissed the sky, the performance for that night got over. And as was the custom there, sweets were being distributed amongst all the listeners. So Ramu was sleeping. Tuck, 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 tuck. One sweet fell into his mouth too. And Ramu woke up with a jolt. Mm. 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 Enjoy, relaxed after a whole night. Lakshmi was waiting there to hear from Ramu. How was it, dear? His tongue touched a bit of sweet, which was stuck somewhere inside, you know. Sweet. Sweet. You found it sweet? You found the story sweet? I knew it. Once you hear the storyteller, you will develop some interest in stories. Oh, thank God. Well, that night again, Lakshmi forced Ramu, and Ramu, though he was reluctant, went there. He was not that bothered tonight because he knew where to go. Straight he went, yes, below the tree. He sat there and he fell asleep. After he started sleeping, one boy, a young boy, he was not finding a nice place to sit and, see the storyteller. So he was trying to find a high place. And Ramu's shoulder, sleeping Ramu's shoulder, was the perfect place for him. So he just came and he sat over there and he watched and listened to the storyteller throughout the night. Early morning, as I told you, the performance got over. The boy stood up and left. Ramu woke up. He wasn't feeling that good this day, So he went home. Lakshmi, as usual, his wife was waiting to ask him, how was it dear tonight? Last night? All right. But painful, heavy, becoming heavier. You have started soaking in the experience of the story. Yes, I'm sure that the hero, Rama, Sita, Lakshmana, the main characters, they're going in exile. Oh, that's really a very heavy part of the story. Oh, you have started realizing the depth of it. I'm so glad. That night, now you have guessed it, that Lakshmi, of course, forced him to go again. He wasn't that interested now with that painful experience, but he went and he sat and he slept as usual. While he was sleeping, a dog was moving by. Poor dog. He was full, the bladder was full, He wanted to, he was feeling urgent. He wanted to release urgently. So he found Ramu there sleeping, not objecting because others were all shooing him away. The dog came to Ramu and lifted his one leg and released everything. And it sprinkled and sprayed all over Ramu's face. Next morning, performance got over, the sweet came and Ramu opened and so smelly. What is this? So he returned home. He didn't like this experience at all. His wife, as usual, asked, how was it? Absolutely horrible. Salty, smelly. Salty, smelly? How can Ramayana be salty and smelly? Sweet, painful, heavy, I understand. But salty and smelly? Not falling into place. I need to check what he is doing. So that night, Lakshmi said, listen, I'm going to come with you. No way. No, this is probably the last night, so I'm coming with you. No way at all. You said you asked me to go, so I went and I'm going today. But I'm not going to take you. Please. Ramu had no other option. Lakshmi came along with him. And of course, Lakshmi didn't allow him to sit at the end under the tree. she just pulled Ramu and made him sit on the front row. Irritated, Ramu was like, there are all lines of irritation, over his face. Lakshmi, all right. Listen, I'm listening. Well, the storyteller began, and that night he was going to tell about that episode where Hanuman, the monkey god, leapt across the ocean, having the ring of Rama. And he was going to cross the ocean and go to Sri Lanka and show this ring to Sita, who was abducted by the demon king Ravana. So here the storyteller went, and Hanuman took the ring from Lord Rama, and he just leapt across the ocean. The ring dropped from his hand. And just then, somebody from the audience said, wait, I will not let you down, Hanumanji. I am coming. And he came onto the stage, picked up the ring from the floor, gave it to the storyteller. Yes, here is your ring. You guessed who gave that ring, who came onto the stage, and who handed it over? Of course, it was Ram. The storyteller was like amazed. He hugged Ram and said, for my entire career, I have never ever had such a good listener like you. I mean, you were listening so keenly that you got involved in the story. Everyone clapped for Ram. And there, Lakshmi, Ramu's wife, was sitting and tears were dropping from her eyes because she knew that the taste for higher things of life has started, in his mind. And yes, Ramu became an avid lover of stories. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And that was fantastic. And such expression. I could have, that's the wonderful thing about great storytelling. Just those expressions bring it out. And I feel that story.
I think suddenly it's muted, John. You're muted on your side, suddenly.
Thank you. I should have a t-shirt that says mute and unmute. Thank you for that story. It reminded me very much of what's happening in Marrakesh right now, which is a resurgence of storytelling. And I must remember not to go to sleep under trees. So
and to listen to when the stories are happening.
Absolutely, yeah. I did listen to yours. It's fantastic. It was a beautiful story. Thank you. Now, because one of the things about the new cafe is that it can both have stories coming in from around the world and going out to the world. And I have next to me Ishmael, who will tell you where he is. I mean, he's from Morocco, but Morocco is a huge country and it has many places and many towns. And it's no good telling me which town it is because I won't remember the name for longer than 2 seconds. So I'll let him introduce himself and he will tell you a story. So live and direct from the World Storytelling Cafe in Marrakesh. Ishmael, would you introduce yourself and tell us a story?
Okay, so please. My name is Ismail. I come from a very small village in the oasis of Daraa, in the province of Zagora in the south of Morocco. So it's about 2,050 kilometers to the south from Marrakesh. So my story is like this. Once upon a time, there's a little chicken who had put 3 eggs. And then she went to get her food. When she came back, she found a very, very giant bird sitting on her eggs. She told him, "Please, bird, can you go out? I need my eggs." The giant bird replied, "No, unless you bring me some butter. I love butter." So the little chicken went to a cow. The cow, can you please give me some butter? I give the butter to the giant bird so he can leave my eggs. The cow replied, "Okay, I can give you butter, but I need to bring me some alfalfa, which is the grass." The little bird went to a very small garden and she asked for alfalfa. "Please, garden, can you give me some alfalfa? I give the alfalfa to the cow. The cow gives me butter. I give the butter to the bird and the bird leaves my eggs." So the gardener replied, "I need some water. Can you go and bring water for me?" Then the little chicken went to a water canal and asked for water. Canal, can you please water the garden? The garden gives me alfalfa. I give the alfalfa to the cow. The cow gives me butter. I give the butter to the bird and the bird leaves my eggs. So the camel asked for workers. It had to be cleaned. So the little chicken went to workers. "Hello, workers. Can you please clean the canal? The canal waters the garden. The garden gives me alfalfa for the cow. The cow gives me butter. I give the butter to the bird, and the bird leaves my eggs." Yes. So the workers need to entertain, and they asked for girl dancers. So the chicken went to dancers. "Hi, dancers. Can you please dance for the workers? The workers clean the canal waters the garden gives alfalfa for the cow gives me butter, I give the butter to the bird, and the bird leaves my eggs." The dancers asked for shoes, very special shoes. And then the little chicken went to the shoemaker. "Please, shoemaker, can you make me some shoes? I give the shoes to the dancers. The dancer danced for the workers. The workers clean the canal waters the garden gives me alfalfa. I give the alfalfa to the cow, and the cow gives me butter to give it to the bird so he leaves my eggs." The shoemaker asked for a very special chili couscous, which is very special food in Morocco. And the little chicken went looking for couscous, and she knocked in a family asking for couscous. This family had a party. "Please, family, can you give me some chili couscous? I give the chili couscous to the shoes maker. The shoes maker gives me shoes. I give the shoes for the dancers so that they can dance for the workers, and the workers can clean the canal. The canal waters the garden. The garden gives me alpha. I give the alpha for the cow, and the cow gives me butter. I give the butter to the bird so he can leave my eggs. This family need wood to prepare couscous. So the family asks for wood, and the chicken sat thinking, what can I do to bring the wood? So the chicken went back home and gathered with all her friends, other chicken, and asked and told her story. And so they decided to work together and bring the wood so that the little chicken can give the wood to this family. The family made couscous, very chili couscous, and the little chicken take couscous to the shoes maker. The shoes maker finally made the shoes, and the shoes are given to the dancers. The dancer danced for the workers. When the workers entertained, they cleaned the canal, and the canal watered the garden. The garden grew the alpha, and the alpha is given to the little chicken so that it can manage to give it to the bird, and the bird finally leaves the eggs. Thank you so much.
Whoa, I love, yeah, just round of applause, everyone. Oh, fantastic. And amongst my favorite stories, and David knows this, I love, we've got someone coming in. I love catalogue stories. I'm going to write down that sequence if you, during the day, and may I tell it?
Yes,
When I get back to England?
of course, yes.
I'll say, it is a story I got in Morocco from a man who lived way down south. Going down south with a smile on my mouth, and going down, no, that's another thing altogether. So, someone's just come into the room. I can't see their name. I can't.
It's Swati's just coming in. I invited Swati. She's just coming in.
Fantastic. So, David, while we're waiting for Swati, have you got a story for us? So we've gone so far, we've gone Singapore, not Korea, Singapore, India, Morocco, we're going to England, and where's Swati from? So I don't make the same mistake.
Swati is in India.
In India, fantastic. Well, India's a big country, so there's that's like saying you're from Europe. So that's
Hi, Swati.
Hi, Swati.
Hey everyone. Hi.
Hi, Swati. David will tell a story, and will you tell a story after David? Fantastic.
Okay, I'm not prepared, but I will.
We're storytelling. We don't have to prepare. It's not a theatre. It's storytelling. We're sitting in a circle. We're in a circle around the world, telling stories.
Wow.
So, David, would you like to tell your story?
Yeah, can I just ask, Ismail, I loved your story. Can I ask you, does this story come from your part of Morocco, where you come from, or is it a Moroccan story?
Actually, our grandmothers used to tell us this story and other stories when we were kids. And when I grow up, just lately, I started to dig back because this culture of storytelling is a little bit going down.
Sure.
Last time I was digging to gather those stories. So fortunately, which made me happy that a woman still remembers the story. So she told me back. And also, I didn't expect to be a storyteller, so I gave stories for the second time in this festival, which is my first time to tell a story.
Wow, you're
I
such a
think-
good
I think-
storyteller, and in English too.
Yeah, I think it's from our region because in my village in Timidat there's some gardens in the other side, and from the river there's a little canal who transfers water from the river to the gardens, and we have also chicken in the village. So maybe the only fantastic thing in this story is the giant bird, because it's the name is not it's unknown, unnamed bird.
So it's a fantastical bird.
Thank you. Yes, fantastical.
And Ismail, like John, I want to ask you, is it okay with you if I tell this story and I say that I learned it from you?
Of course, I learned it from Madawiya, which is the name of the woman who told me. So,
Would you mind writing her name and your name and the place that you come from in the chat?
yes, of course.
That would be amazing.
That's very difficult.
Window, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Window,
Of course, Ali has the technology. Of course, Ali has the technology.
Thank you, Ismail. I'm really appreciative, and like John, I promise that I will share the story and pass on Moroccan culture to other people in different parts of the world. It's just fantastic to meet you.
Yeah, David,
Oh, wait, I should tell my story, shouldn't I?
you've got a better memory than me. I shall just remember Ismail's name and say it's from a village in South Morocco. You, being more academic, having far more memory cells than me, will say the name of the village. But hopefully we will not be telling it in the same part of the country. David, I think it's about time you told us a story.
So, yeah, thank you, Ismail. Thank you, Sui Yen, for your wonderful fire story. And I will also want to thank Debjani, who you know what, I heard Debjani tell a story for the first time this morning at the Chennai Storytelling Festival. And then I said, oh, come and tell a story now at the World Storytelling Cafe. So I've heard you tell 2 stories in one morning, and it's just fantastic. So I would love to
Thank
hear
you.
your stories. But anyway, my story. I'm going to tell you a story from England. And it's a story I haven't told for years, but it's just suddenly come into my mind because Debyani's story, somehow this relationship between Ramu and Lakshmi really reminded me of this story. It's a well, you know, it's Valentine's week still, isn't it? And it's all about relationships. And this story, in some ways, this story has a lot of truth in it with regard to my own relationship and my own marriage with my wife, Tammy. So I'm just going to tell you the story. Please, will you, before I begin, can everybody sing with me? So turn on your microphone and can you repeat after me? This is a little bit of singing practice, okay? Bring me, oh bring me the heart of one you love. Can we sing that together? Bring me, oh bring me the heart of one you love. Jack lived with his mother, but his mother was growing old and sick. Jack, what will happen to you when I'm gone? How will you manage the house and the garden? You're useless, Jack. You haven't got any brains. Without any brains, Jack, what will happen to you? Well, I don't know, Mother, said Jack. What do I do about it? Jack, you've got to go and get yourself some brains. Go to the old wise woman at the top of the hill and ask her. Well, Jack always did what his mother said. So he set off up the hill, up higher and higher and higher to the top. And there he came to a deep stony cave. And in the cave was the wise old woman. And she was stirring a big pot, a cauldron full of soup. What do you want? I come for some brains. brains, she said. You want brains? If you want brains, then you will need to answer me a riddle. What runs but has no legs? Now, if you know the answer, keep it to yourself, because perhaps you know the answer, but save it for later. But Jack looked at the old woman and he said, what runs but has no legs? I got no idea. Then said the old woman, you need to come back and bring me, oh bring me the heart of one you love. Well, Jack, he set out from that cave and down the hill he came. And he came to his mother, who was very sick and lying in her bed. Mother, the old woman told me to bring the heart of the one I love. Well, what do you love, Jack? Said his old mother. I don't know, Mother, but you know, I'm very hungry after all that walking up the hill and down the hill and all that. I could do with a sandwich, and there's nothing I love more than bacon. Can I have a bacon sandwich? And she said, well, we got no bacon left. But if you love bacon, Jack, perhaps that's the thing you love best. Oh, yes, Mother, I do love bacon. Well, we've got one pig left, our only pig, but perhaps you should take the pig up the hill. Well, Jack thought that pig looked rather too big. So he slaughtered the pig, he took out the pig's heart, and he carried the bloody heart up the hill. And he climbed higher and higher and higher and higher, and he came to the cave. And he went inside, and there was the old woman. And he said, look, it's the heart of the one I love. It's the heart of our pig. And the old woman said, let's see if now you can solve the riddle. And she says, what shines like gold, but is not gold? Well, you know the answer, but don't tell us yet. And Jack said, what shines like gold but isn't gold? What could it be? And he had no idea. And the old woman fixed Jack with her eye, and she said, bring me, oh bring me the heart of one you love. Well, Jack went out of the cave and down and down and down the hill, and he came to his mother's bed, but you know what? His mother was already dead. It was too late. His mother was dead in the bed. Oh no! Jack was so sorry. He cried and he cried and he cried. What am I going to do? How can I look after myself? Don't know how to cook, don't know how to clean, don't know how to dig the garden or pick the fruit or the vegetables. I'm lost. Oh, mother, 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 how I love my mother. I love my mother. I love my mother. And he thought, perhaps I should cut out her heart. Oh, no, I can't do that. But my mother's not as heavy as the pig. So he slung his mother's body over his shoulder and he started up the hill. And he climbed and climbed and climbed the hill, carrying his mother, and into the cave he came. And the old woman was stirring her pot. I brought my mother. Unfortunately, she's no longer alive, but her heart is inside her, isn't it? Isn't it? I know that much. I've brought you the heart of the one I love. And the old woman looked at Jack, fixed Jack with her eye and said, well, let's see if now you can answer a riddle. And she said, what starts with... let me just get this right. What starts with no legs and then has 4 and finishes up with 2? No legs then 4 legs then 2? Well, Jack had no idea. And she said again, Bring me, oh, bring me the heart of one you love. Well, Jack was so upset. He couldn't leave his mother up there, so he carried his mother all the way back down the hill. He buried her. At least he could do that. But he was lost. He didn't know how to look after himself. I've got no brains, see? The garden was going all to weed, and I don't know which ones are the vegetables and which ones I should throw away. I don't even know how to cook, and the house is going to rack and ruin. The roof needs fixing, but what can I do? Jack was a lost soul. Do you think that's the end of the story?
No.
Well, a few days later, coming along the road was a young woman from the nearby village. And she saw Jack in all his disarray. His hair hadn't been combed, his clothes hadn't been washed, he was looking thin. And she said, "What's wrong, Jack?" "Oh, all's gone wrong," said Jack. "All's gone wrong. Tell me, Jack," she said. And she sat down and Jack told her all of his sorrows. Let me give you a hand." And that young woman very kindly helped Jack, and she showed him which were weeds and which were the vegetables that were ready for pulling up, and oh, those berries are ripe now. And she showed him how to cook those vegetables and make a delicious berry pie. And she helped him clean the house, and she even instructed him how to fix the roof. And within a few days, all was right as rain. "Oh, Jack," she said, "you're not such a fool, Jack. You're learning, Jack." "Well, it's all thanks to you," said Jack. "You're most kind and helpful and clever. You know what? I love you." "Oh, Jack, you love me?" "I love you. I'll bring you up to the old woman. I don't want to kill you, though." Well, why would you need to kill me, Jack? I'll come with you up the hill." So hand in hand, Jack and this young woman, they skipped up that hill, and Jack was smiling. His heart was full of hope. He came into the cave with her, and there was the old woman stirring the pot. And she looked at Jack, and she looked at the young woman, and she said, "What do you want?" "Well, I love her," said Jack. "And her heart, if I'm not mistaken, is in her, so I bring you her heart with her." "Let's see," said the old woman. "Let's test you again." Now, what was the first riddle? What runs but has no legs? Jack, I still don't know the answer. But the young woman said, Jack, listen." And she whispered in his ear. Now, if you can work out the answer, perhaps you can unmute and you can whisper, "What runs but has no legs?" Water? Water? It's definitely not a canal, is it? It could be a river, though, couldn't it? And it could be water in that river. It's the water in the river, Jack. It's water. "Oh, it's water," said Jack. "Water runs in the river." "Ah," said the old woman. "What shines like gold, but it's not gold?" "Oh, I don't know," said Jack. I know," said the young woman. Say it a bit louder.
The sun.
"It's the sun," said Jack. "It's the sun in the sky. It shines, but it isn't gold." "Whoa," said the old woman. "One more. What starts with no legs, then has 4 legs, and ends up with just 2 legs?" Well, this was impossible, thought Jack. But the young woman said, I know what it could be. Now, I don't believe anybody at the World Storytelling Cafe is as smart as that young woman. But let's see if you would like to have a try. Anybody know?
And a person.
That's the one with the 3 legs and the stick. No, this is with 4 legs at the end. No legs, 4 legs, 2 legs. Oh, I see what you mean. But even a person. Oh, I see when they're an embryo, maybe, with an embryo inside the womb. Perhaps before they have, when they're, and then the baby on 4 legs and then walking on 2 legs. Oh, that's interesting. It could be another answer too. Ribbit. Ribbit.
Would it be a frog that
A frog!
as a frog spawn
sorry.
becomes a
Tadpole?
and then frog?
Yeah, the 4 little feet on the froglet, and then the frog has like 2 hands, doesn't he, and then 2 feet. Ah, it's a frog, said Jack. Well done, said the old woman. Give me my brains, said Jack. Give me my brains. You got your brains already, said the old woman, and your brains, Jack, are inside her head. Oh! I don't have to kill her, though, do I? No, Jack, you don't have to kill her. And Jack said, does that mean... And he turned to the young woman, and in front of that old woman in the cave, he said, would you be my love? Would you be my wife? And she said, Jack, I was only waiting for you to ask. And down the hill they came. They skipped down the hill, and in that village there was a wedding like none ever before, because there was such celebration not only of the marriage, but of Jack, who now had his brains, and with his wife they lived a long and happy life, just like my life with my dear wife.
So sweet.
David, that's
So cute.
what a great love story. I've never heard a Jack love story. There's lots of stories where Jack gets married at the end, but a Jack love story, really great for near Valentine's Day. Now I'm going back across to India. I can't see the name. Someone bring the name up on the...
Swati Sinya.
What?
Haniwachak Swati.
Swati.
Haniwachak Swati.
Swati. Right.
Yeah.
Now, we're back to India. I don't know what part of India. Maybe you can tell us. Maybe you can introduce yourself and then tell a story. Please take the stage at the World Storytelling Cafe.
Thank you so much. So my name is Swati and I am from Delhi, New Delhi, India. And today I am going to narrate a mythological story, a very sweet story. And actually in India, our parents, our mothers, our grandmothers pass on these stories to their new generation. So that's how, if I have to do an impromptu story, the best is to do a mythology because it's there in my mind and I don't need any preparation for it. It's been passed on by my mother to me. So the story that I've picked today is about Hanuman. And Lord Hanuman is one of the favorite gods from Indian mythology. And he gives us a lot of power and he's fearless. So whenever we feel scared, we chant Hanuman Chalisa, which is a very sacred hymn for us. And this story is about little Hanuman when he was a small boy. So Lord Hanuman, when he was born with amazing powers, which he himself was not aware of. So as a baby, as a very small child, he would lie down in his cradle and his mother would go out to fetch for some firewoods and do some chores. In her absence, Hanuman was always hungry. He was a very hungry child and he always wanted something to eat. So one day, when Hanuman's mother was not around, he wakes up from his sleep. And as usual, Hanuman is very hungry. So when he tries to get out of his cradle, he sees a very nice orange looking ball in the air. And he feels it's an orange, it's a fruit. And he is so wanting to have that fruit because he's so hungry, mama is not around. He jumps out of his cradle and flies. He's the son of wind god, so he can fly. He flies out of the window and tries to go near that orange, the ball. The ball is actually the sun, but the baby Hanuman doesn't know it's the sun. He wants to have it. While Hanuman is going near the sun god is scared. Oh God, what's happening? This baby is coming near me. I don't know what to do. And wind god luckily comes there and sees that sun is scared of this little baby. He laughs. He thinks, oh, this is so strange. The most powerful, mighty sun is scared of a baby. And he's having a good time. He doesn't interfere, but he's been watching what Hanuman is up to. And sun is scared. So sun god cries for help. He says, oh, Indra, come and help me. I don't know what this baby's up to. And Indra comes in between Hanuman and the sun. And Indradev is sitting on his Airavat, the elephant who has many trunks. And he's a white elephant. So Indradev is sitting on his elephant, Airavat. When Hanuman sees the elephant, he starts playing with the elephant. He likes to play and he likes to have fun. But Indra is not very happy. He tells the baby to go back to his house. But Hanuman says, I'm hungry, I want to eat that orange. Indradev warns him, but Hanuman is not scared. He starts going nearer to the sun. The sun is scared. He shouts, oh, Indradev, please save me from this baby. And that moment, Indradev takes out his weapon, the thunderbolt, and hits Hanuman hard with that thunderbolt. Hanuman is a small baby. He can't bear the power of the thunderbolt, and he starts falling down. He starts falling down towards the ground. At that very moment, wind god is very angry. Pavandev, he cannot bear the pain Hanuman is going through. So he goes and takes the baby in his arms. He's really angry with Indradev. He has hurt a small baby. So he takes his baby along and goes and hides in the cave. And you know what happens when there's no wind around, no air? People are scared and so are the gods. Everybody is choking. They don't have air because wind is angry. He's gone inside a cave hidden with his baby. And the animals, the humans, they're all choking. The gods, they can't breathe. They're all so scared. So they go and tell Indradev, please rectify your mistake. What have you done? We'll all die. We can't be saved if wind god doesn't come out. So they all go together to the wind god and start praying outside the cave. Oh, wind god, please forgive us. The animals are dying and so are everybody. Please come out. Please save us. But wind god is angry. His baby is hurt. He doesn't like it. But the gods keep pleading, please forgive us. Please come out. So wind god agrees to come out. But he says, you have given pain to my child. Now you have to bless him. Give him all the powers. So all the gods give Hanuman lots of powers. You can increase and decrease your size if you want. You can fly up the air for however long you want. You can lift heaviest and heaviest of mountains, and so on and so forth. Hanuman has been blessed and blessed so much that till date, he is the favorite god. He is remembered whenever people are fearful, whenever there is a problem, whenever there is any trouble. And then is the time when wind god is happy. He's happy that his son has been blessed. And that's the end of the story. Things get back to normal. People are easily breathing now. And things are perfectly fine with Hanuman having all the powers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Swati.
Thank you, Swati. Thank you for visiting us. keep an eye on the schedule. I don't know when the next Asian Australasian program is. It'll be in about a month's time. I'm going to finish this session with a story Ismail's story reminded me of, but it was told to me by a storyteller from Texas who should have been at this festival. But unfortunately, she passed away just in December. So I'm going to tell a story she gave me. And partly that's in celebration. If you pass a story on someone gave you,
Of course, yes.
they stay alive. That passes on their memory. And so this is for Trudy Terry. And she's a very close friend. But it's about a chicken.
Chicken.
It's a chicken. And it's another catalogue story.
Okay.
So I thought that's why yours reminded me of
So we
this
have a
one.
lot of chicken.
Yeah, we have a lot of chicken stories. But this chicken was called Jose.
Jose.
And he was a very small chicken. He was a very young chicken. And he'd never been allowed out of the house by himself. And I know there's mothers out there, and I know that it's a very worrying time to know when you can first let children out of the house by themselves. So it was his cousin's wedding on the other side of town. And she thought, well, it'll be safe for him to go to that. And she dressed him up in his best white feather suit, polished his beak, and said, whatever you do, don't stop for anything and don't talk to anyone on the way. And of course, the boy promised, the chicken promised, Jose promised. And so he's going along and he's singing at the top of his voice. Now, Jose had the worst voice in the whole world. It was worse than mine. That's why I'm a storyteller, I don't sing. And so if I sang, everyone in Marrakesh would move to Rabat. So there's and he's going down the road and he's singing at the top of his voice, and the insects have got their fingers in their ears and the birds have got their wings over their heads so they can't hear him. When he sees crossing in front of him a big, fat, juicy caterpillar. Now, if there's one thing chickens like, it's big, fat, juicy caterpillars. But he remembered what he told his mum and his mother, and he carried on down the road, singing at the top of his voice. Insects had their fingers in their ears. Birds had their wings over their
Ears.
heads. No, it's okay. It's okay. No, that's what a catalogue story is. We pick it up as we go along. And he sees crossing in front of him a big, fat, juicy grasshopper. Now, if there's one thing chickens like more than big, fat, juicy caterpillars, he's good, isn't he? And says it's big, fat, juicy grasshoppers.
Oh, okay.
We're having fun here. This is the great thing about being live again. And but he remembered what he told his mother, and he's carrying on down the road, singing at the top of his voice. Insects got their fingers in their
Ears.
birds got their wings over their
Heads.
and he sees in front of him a big berry bush full of red berries. And if there's one thing chickens like more than big, fat, juicy caterpillars, you know, it's great. It's I've got someone asking. I'm asking them to remember words in their third language, or maybe the fourth language. So, and big, fat, juicy
Caterpillars. Hill.
grasshoppers.
What?
Grasshoppers, like colocas.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, grasshoppers. It's big, fat, juicy red berries. And he thinks, just one. And he leans forward and he eats it. Now, this is where I'm not sure if this story is exactly true, because you and I know that if you're wearing white and you eat red, it will drip down it. Of course. But he looked at his white feather suit and there wasn't one drop of red berry juice. Oh, can you let Phil in? Oh, fantastic. It's great. And it's like opening the door, isn't it? Can you let Phil in there? But there wasn't one drop of red berry juice on his white feather suit. He thought, I'll have another and another and another. Now, I don't know how many of you have ever had a box of chocolates or sweetmeats or sweets, and you think, I'll put some away for later.
Okay.
But you know, when you look at it, there's none left.
No.
You've eaten them all.
Yes.
You didn't mean to. It was an accident, but you just
Yes.
ate them all. And when he looked at his berry bush, there wasn't one berry left on it. But he looked at his wife in the suit, and there was no juice in it.
No.
So he's going down the road, and he's singing top of his voice. The insects got their fingers in there.
Ears.
The birds got their wings over there.
Head.
When he got bored with that, and he did that thing where you look at the end of your nose, you go cross-eyed by looking at the end of your nose. Well, he was a chicken. He had a long beak, so he could see the end of his nose quite easily. End of his beak, and it was covered in red berry juice. He thinks, oh no, I'm in terrible trouble. So he goes to the grass, he goes, grass, grass, wave in the wind and wipe the berry juice off my beak, or I'm gonna be in big
Troubles.
trouble. And the grass goes, no way, Jose. So he goes to the now there's been so, do come in. We're live and direct. Have a seat. We're live and direct. So he goes to the sheep. He goes, sheep, eat grass. Grass won't wave in the wind and wipe the berry juice off my beak, or I'm going to be in big
Trouble.
Fantastic. All shout. Right. I have other people in the room here. I have Sarah Lloyd Winder. Come and take a bow. Live and direct, Sarah Lloyd Winder. Say hello.
Hello, world.
I have, she's from England. I have Juliana Marin. Come on, say hello.
Buenos dias. Hello, everyone.
And actually, this is the story, and the main character is called Jose. So there's, and I got it from Texas. So Juliana's from Colombia, and so anyway, to get back to the story, right? So he goes to the anyway, the sheep won't. So he goes to the wolf. He goes, wolf, chase sheep. Sheep won't eat grass. Grass won't wave in the wind and wipe the berry juice off my beak, and I'm going to be in big
Trouble.
And the wolf went, no way, Jose. So he goes to the dog. He goes, dog, bite, wolf, won't chase sheep. Sheep won't eat grass. Grass won't wave in the wind and wipe the berry juice off my beak, and I'm going to be big
Trouble.
The dog went, no way, Jose. So he goes to the man. He went, man, beat dog won't bite, wolf won't chase sheep won't eat grass won't wave in the wind and wipe the berry juice off my beak, and I'm going to be in big
Trouble.
Now, the man liked chicken. He liked an egg for breakfast. So he went, okay, Jose. So the man began to beat the
Chicken.
dog. The dog began to bite the wolf, and he's only heard the story once. I couldn't remember it after I heard it 30 times. Right. Wolf began to chase the sheep. Well done. Sheep began to eat the no, that's a different story. Eating rabbits is a different thing. Right. The grass. It was a vegetarian sheep. What sheep are vegetarians? Right. That's by their very nature. A big appendix. Right. So sheep began to eat the grass. The grass began to wave in the wind and wipe the berry juice off of Jose's beak. And Jose wasn't in big
Trouble.
and he went running towards the chapel, and he went running to his cousin's wedding, and he's singing at the top of his voice, and the insects got their fingers in there,
Ears.
and the birds got their wings over there,
Head.
And he ran, he came to the chapel, and he threw open the doors and he said, I'm here. I can sing for you. And everyone in the chapel shouted, no way, Jose. And that was a story that Trudy Terry gave me. And we loved you, Ted, Trudy, we loved you. Well, thank you. It's been a good program, hasn't it? And it is our first Asian Australasian hybrid from the World Storytelling Cafe, live and direct in Marrakesh, as part of the International Storytelling Festival. Tomorrow, if you want to come back, if you're up and awake, Swati, we'd love to see you. It'll be about midnight in India. That we have our worldwide story round, and that will be hosted by Mike Russ from Get a Word in Edgeways, and people can rarely get a word in Edgeways when I'm talking. And then on Tuesday, the festival would have been finished, but the worldstorytellingcafe.com will not. There will be our young international storytellers. So storytellers 18 years and under from around the world can come and join us. So if you know any young people that would come and join us, we have actually, India is our major country of participation on that program, but we sometimes, if they get the internet, we have children from Gaza, from Nigeria, and hopefully soon we'll have some from Morocco if we can build stuff up in this. And if you know anyone, are you going back home?
Yes.
Yes. So if you know any children in the village who would like to tell a story
In any language.
in any language,
Yes, of course, because in my position, my association in which I work with children. So the aim is to transfer these stories from old generations to new generations. So next time I owe you stories by children.
Yeah, so it'd be fantastic. So if you could bring some children on, so I'll give you the details for you, Lee.
Okay.
And maybe they can tell in whichever language they want. It could be, in your case, it could be any of three languages.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can make some translations, but mainly a Berber, because we are in the Berber area.
Well, fantastic. So
sorry, somebody has asked a question about the title of the story. It's Markush.
How do I write that?
Markush, M-A-R-K-O-U-C-H.
Markush.
Markush.
Markush, is that the name of the big bird?
Markush, yeah, the big bird.
Big Markush, the big bird. Fantastic. I might even remember that. Now you've done this reinforcing for us, David. Thank you very much for that. So it would be great to have something from, especially from rural Morocco. So, and it's so good to see you live and direct next to me, Ismail. Thank you, Swati. Thank you, Shuyang. Thank you. Get the name up quickly so I don't look to it. Pardon? No, we know you're Ali. There was that's right. As the other lady from India had gone. Yeah, no, the Swati.
Yeah, Deb Jani had to leave. She sent a message in the
That's
chat.
okay. Yeah. The Swati.
Had to go as well.
We can't forget your smile, Swati. I can't ignore that. So that's
John.
So thank you very much for coming. Please come and visit us again.
Sure.
Our door is always open. And we will pour you mint tea or chai or whatever you like. So we'll pass it virtually through the screen. Okay. Well, but from now, from the worldstorytellingcafe.com and the World Story Cafe virtual and the Marrakesh International Storytelling Festival, it's not goodbye, but it's see you soon. Au revoir. Thank you, Ali.
Bye-bye.